All right, we're going to be talking about graphing linear inequalities. We've given you a couple examples here. You're going to notice that I'm only going to write the steps one time because the steps and the rules are the same. It just depends on the application. So we're going to talk about graphing these on a coordinate plane. Again, we're on a coordinate plane because we have two variables, x and y, and we're going to look at what happens when we graph those. All right, so our steps. Step one is we're going to solve for y. So in other words, we're going to get the y alone. We're going to look for a situation, if it's not there, to move everything away from the letter y in order to get that variable by itself to put our equation in slope-intercept form. For step number two, the second thing we're going to do is we're going to plot the y-intercept and 1 point. And we're going to use the slope to do that. So once we plot the y-intercept, we're going to plot a point using the slope. Our third step is to check the symbol for line type. And if you'll notice on the sides of the graph where it says solid line, dashed line, shade above and shade below, that step 3 is going to refer to whether or not we have a solid or a dashed line. All right, and then step 4. Okay, step 4 is going to be the point where we shade. Okay, so we're going to check the symbol for shading. And then what we really want to do, and kind of a thing to make sure that we have the right answer, is we're going to test a point. I typically like to test the point 0, 0, as long as it's not on the line itself. And then that lets me know if I need to shade the side where 0, 0 is or shade the other side. So I'm going to walk you through those steps. Again, our equation is already solved for y, or our inequality, is already solved for y. So now it says to plot the y-intercept and 1 point. So my y-intercept here is negative 2. So I'm going to put a dot there. And then my slope is 3, which is really 3 over 1. So I'm going to go up 3 and write 1. And I can continue that pattern. Up 3, right 1, as long as I need to in order to draw a line. I can also go down 3 and left 1. And then I'm going to draw a line. Now, it says right here, it says check the symbol for the line type. All right, in order for us to have a solid line, our symbol needs to be greater than or equal to or less than or equal to. If our symbol is greater than or less than, we're going to create a dashed line. So in this case, we have greater than or equal to, so I'm going to create a solid line that passes through all of those points. I'm going to put arrows on each end. All right, my next step says check symbol for shading. In this case, it says y is greater than or equal to 3x minus 2. So I'm pretty sure that I'm going to shade on the greater side. But to check that, I'm going to test a point 0, 0. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to replace both x and y with 0, 0 because I think that I'm going to shade on this top side, or the side where 0, 0 is. So I'm going to test it. 0 is greater than or equal to 3 times 0 minus 2. Well, that would be 0 is greater than or equal to 3 times 0 is 0. 0 minus 2 is a negative 2. And 0 is bigger than negative 2. So that is a true statement. Okay, and again, we go to shading. We shade above on anything that's greater than or equal to, and we would shade below on less than or equal to. So again, 0, 0 is located right here. It's a true statement, so I'm going to shade on the side of 0, 0. And that would be the answer to my inequality. the line and everything in the shaded area is a solution to that inequality. All right, now we're going to move on to the second equation. Again, the steps are going to stay the same, so I'm not going to redo all that, but we have an issue here. We don't have an equation, or an inequality, excuse me, that has y alone. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to subtract 2x from both sides. On the left, my 2x cancels out, so I'm left with negative 3y is less than 12 minus 2x. All right, now for the next step, I need to get y alone, so I'm going to divide by a negative 3. And I'm going to divide all three parts by the negative 3. So that would leave me with y. Now, if you remember, anytime I divide by a negative, I'm going to flip my inequality symbol. So now it's y is greater than a negative 4. 12 divided by negative 3 is negative 4. And then negative 2 divided by negative 3 is 2/3. So it would be plus 2/3 x. So I'm going to go to my next step, which is to plot the y-intercept in a point. So my y-intercept is negative 4. Put a dot at negative 4. And I go up 2 and right 3. Up 2 and right 3. And again, I can also go down 2 and left 3. Down 2 and left 3. All right, this time, when I go to check my symbol for the line type, if you notice, it's just a greater than symbol. So what that tells me is I need a dashed or a dotted line. So I'm going to put a dashed line with arrows on the end. Okay, again, I'm going to check the symbol for shading. More than likely, I need to shade above because I flipped my symbol, but again, I'm going to test a point. Now, it's really important when we test this point that we go back to the original equation. So I'm going to say 2 times 0. Again, I'm going to use 0, 0 because it's not on the line. Minus 3 times 0 is less than 12. Well, 2 times 0 is 0. 3 times 0 is 0, so that means that 0 is less than 12. Again, that is a true statement, so I'm going to shade on the side of 0, 0. Were that statement false, I would shade on the opposite side of 0, 0. So again, this time, my answer is only this shaded area. My answer is not on the line because the line is dashed, which means it is not part of the solution. If you have any questions, please let your math teacher know. Hopefully this is a help for you, and hopefully this helps you get through the assignment.